I'm going to be interviewing my grandpa, Doy Cloninger. He was a World War II veteran. Okay, what was your position, what was your military rank in the war?
I was a private first class in the 616th Field Artillery Division.
Okay.
And I was in the 10th Mountain Division.
Okay. What was your job?
I was a telephone operator, and I taken orders from the captain, and I fired that weapon, the 75 millimeter howitzer.
Okay. Is that all? Okay. How old were you when you left for the war?
24.
24. Okay. Tell me about your mule, Katie.
Well, I had to take care of her. I had to go to the mule barn every evening and feed her. And she carried we had 5 mules. It carried that gun, and it would break down into 5 pieces, and my mule carried the barrel of that gun.
Okay. Were you ever in the hospital?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was in the hospital before I went overseas. I had pneumonia.
Okay.
That was in 1944.
Why did you get pneumonia?
Huh?
Why did you get pneumonia?
They had us out marching, and they told us to go out with our undershirts on. And it was real cold, and some of them fell out with their winter undershirts on. And the sergeant said, no, go back in and take your undershirts out and fall out without any undershirts at all.
Oh. Okay.
And next morning I was sick, and they put me in the hospital, and I stayed in there 3 weeks. And they said I had pneumonia.
Okay. Where were you stationed?
Well, in the United States, I was stationed at Camp Swift, Camp Swift, Texas.
Okay. What countries did you go to?
I went to Italy.
Italy. All right. Were any of your brothers in the war with you?
I had 3 brothers. They was in the Army, and 2 of them went overseas, and the other one, he didn't go overseas. Elvis, he was stationed in Sicily and Italy, and he got wounded. And he came back home before I went overseas. I just taken his place.
About Bed Check Charlie and any other stories you want to tell about?
Well, I'm sure that anybody within combat knows about bed check Charlie. He was a guy that would fly over an airplane and find your position. And we had moved into a position one time, and we hadn't had time to dig in and set up our camouflage nets. And the captain called me and said the bed check Charlie is coming. And said, don't nobody shoot at him. Said, have nobody to shoot at him. And he flew right over me. It was real low, about 100 feet high. And we didn't shoot at him. And I know he found out our position because the next morning they started firing 20 millimeter shells at us. And one of them hit a guy, and he hit him in the chest, and one of them hit my telephone receiver, and I was trying to call the medics to come and get him and see about him. And he had a bad place, and they finally got down there and got him and got away with him. And we heard later that he lived.
That's good.
I wanted to tell you another story about the time that we were stationed, and I had a hand grenade that I carried with me, and I had it disarmed where it wouldn't go off. And I don't know why I carried it, but I carried it on my belt. And we got orders to fire our weapons, and me and another guy was in the same foxhole, and he didn't want to come out. And I said, if you don't come out, I'll throw this hand grenade in there. And he wasn't going to come out, and I pulled a plug on that hand grenade, and it takes 8 seconds for him to go off, and I throw it in there, and he come out. And he said, I ought to shoot you. And he pointed his rifle at me. I guess I was lucky that he didn't shoot. But anyway, we was good friends after that. And we was in one position firing at Bologna, and it taken us 10 days to take over Bologna. We had empty shells all that we had fired. And I fired every one of them. We had 6 guns. We had them stationed about 100 feet apart. And the captain would give me orders to fire the gun, and the guy that operated the gun would the captain would say up so and so, or to the right so and so, or the left so and so, and then he would say fire, and I would fire the gun. And one time we had orders to fire 5 rounds, and the guy that operated the gun would tell them to move it around so-and-so, and they moved it around where it pointed right at the stake that held up a camouflage net. And I told the guy that was in charge of us I couldn't fire the gun because it was going to hit that post. And he got down in front of the gun and looked at it, and he said, no, it won't hit the post. And the captain said, fire. I fired the gun and hit that post and knocked her camouflage down. And I had to call the gun out. We couldn't fire anymore.
Okay, this is my grandmother, Ada Cloninger. Okay, what was it like for Papa to leave while you had a young son?
Well, it was about the worst thing that I've ever been through right then. But as far as our son, he was just 2 years old, and he had no idea why. His daddy was leaving home, and a few weeks, I think about a couple of weeks after he was gone, well, he was stationed for a while. I don't know, I think I'll call it enrolling. I don't know really what it was called, at Camp Walters. Now, we went up there to visit him, and Tom was still hurt at his daddy because he had gone off and left us. And he didn't have any understanding of it at all. It was bad.
Okay. What was it like using ration books?
Well, you just had these stamps, and you went to the store, and you just had so many stamps to use. You couldn't buy as much of anything as you might need. You just had to just use whatever stamps we were allowed to for each person. Lots of things, of course, we couldn't buy it all. You couldn't even get some things. I know that we couldn't get cornmeal, and I loved the cornbread, and a man came to the house once and selling vegetables, and I went out to the truck, and he said, would you like some cornmeal? I'll bring you some cornmeal next time. I told him, yeah. So when he bought it, well, he charged me $5 for it. And I went back in and told my mama, and his mama lived with us. My mama said, no. Said, what do you mean giving? I said, that's black market, paying for things like that. So we wasn't supposed to do things like that.
Okay. What were war bonds like?
What?
What were the war bonds like? Did you use war bonds?
Well, we bought, I think, one, and I don't remember exactly what, but we deposited so much on it at a time. It seemed like that we got little stamps and bought them. It seems to me that we bought them at the post office, so put them in a book, and then when we got so many, well, we could go get a bond. And I think we paid, seemed like $18 for the bond, and then you kept it so many years, 10 years I think, and it was worth $25 then. And then Thomas was um, quite bigger by then, so we took it out and bought him a bicycle. And that was all the bonds that we had at that time that we bought.
Did you go to work during the war?
No, I didn't work. We were living there in the cotton mill village, and I had worked in the cotton mill, but I had asthma, and I tried to go back in. Every time I would go back in, it would seem like it was going to come back on me. But my mama had been working there all the time, so she was still working. She was young then, and as long as one person was working, well, then your house rent was free. So that's the way we did that.
Okay.
I also have a picture of Katie, of a mule, and she carried the barrel of this gun. Here's a picture of this gun, and she carried the barrel of it. And I had to go every night and take care of her and feed her. And when we went on marches, we had marches of about 23 miles, and well, the gun broke down in 5 pieces. We had 5 mules, and they carried the gun, and I don't.
Okay, this article says, the old Army mule, says Private Doy C. Cloninger, former employee of the Dallas Mill, takes care of Katie. He leads her everywhere he goes, but does not ride her. Private Cloninger had his basic training at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. He is a mountain trooper. The $64 question, which one is Katie? And then there's a newspaper article. It says, it's somewhere in Italy, February 26, 1945. It says, Dear Editor, I would like to say hello to all my friends in the mill and let them know I am in Italy doing okay. I have had a close call or two, but it isn't as bad as a person might think. You hear one coming, you hit the dirt, it goes off somewhere close by. You get up and brush the dirt off and say, well, the darn fool's missed again. Well, I guess that takes care of all of the news that I know. I am with a bunch of swell fellows. Lots of them are from Texas, and one is from Dallas. I would be very pleased if you would send me the overseer. Everybody keep the wheels rolling, and I will see you all again before long, I hope. Private Doy C. Cloninger.